Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a really complex case. It's known as the Ismailia Desert Highway investigation.
That's right. And our focus really is how tiny forensic details can just completely flip the script on what seems like an open and shut case.
Yeah.
Or, well, what seems like an accident initially.
Yeah, how things like, say, a specific injury or where exactly a fire started can unravel everything and lead back to something, well, something seemingly settled.
It's a truly disturbing story. And it starts, ironically, on a day meant for celebration. It's 8:00 a.m., first day of Eid al-Adha back in 2019.
Okay, so picture this. The Ismailia Desert Highway. It's quiet, almost desolate. Most people are at home for the holiday.
Exactly. Very few cars out. But there are two microbus drivers on that road, and as they're driving, they spot something odd. A dark plume of smoke up ahead against that, pale desert sky.
Initially just curious, I imagine, but then as they get closer...
It becomes clear it's serious. There's a vehicle pulled over just off the road, and it's not just smoking, it's engulfed, completely on fire.
So their first reaction, naturally, is to help. They pull over.
They do. They rush towards it, thinking maybe someone's trapped inside. But they hit this immediate wall of heat. It's ferocious.
The vehicle, it's a microbus, right, but it's already totally charred.
Totally. You can see the shape. That's about it. Just a blackened shell.
Yeah.
They try to open a door, thinking maybe they can pull someone out.
Brave, but...
futile.
Completely. As soon as they pry a door slightly, air rushes in and whoosh, the flames just explode outwards. It intensifies massively.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They realize instantly, this is way beyond what they can handle. It's not just a car fire. They back off, grab their phones, call the authorities, fire brigade, police.
So the emergency services arrive, put out the fire, and the initial thought must be, okay, tragic accident, right? Engine fire, maybe.
Yeah.
Driver trapped.
That's a logical first assumption, a horrible accident. But then they actually look inside the wreckage, and in that moment, the whole investigation just pivots. Sharply.
What did they find? On the back seats, a human body, completely charred, like the vehicle. But it wasn't just the presence of the body. It was something specific, something the first responders, the crime scene unit, noticed almost immediately, even through all that destruction.
Okay, let's zero in on that. It's a burnt wreck. What could possibly survive that kind of fire to immediately scream foul play?
It's the positioning. And when the forensic lab experts got there, they confirmed it. They looked closely at the body's hands and feet.
Yeah.
They were bound, tied. That's it. That's the sign. No accident, no sudden engine fire leads to the driver climbing in the back and tying themselves up. It's unmistakable premeditation.
So instantly, it's not an accident, it's a homicide. The victim was likely killed somewhere else.
Exactly. Incapacitated, murdered, then brought here. And the location itself, this isolated highway, plus the timing, Eid al-Adha, when everything's slower, fewer witnesses, it all points to planning. Malice.
Calculated, not spontaneous.
Definitely not. This wasn't just an opportunity crime. Someone thought this through.
Okay, so the bindings point to murder. What about the fire itself? Did the technical analysis back that up?
Oh, absolutely. It confirmed the fire was deliberate. They found traces of an accelerant gasoline used heavily. And crucially, the origin point, the place where the fire was hottest and started, it was the back seats, right where the body was.
Not the engine block where you'd expect an accidental fire.
Nope. Clear indication the fire was set after the murder. An attempt to destroy the evidence, the body, everything. They even found a gas can, a jerry can, tossed aside a little way from the bus.
Okay, but the vehicle is destroyed. How do you even start identifying anyone? You need the vehicle's details first.
Right. And that's where the forensic team really shines. Even though the bodywork was basically charcoal, the chassis framed that main metal structure underneath, has the VIN, the chassis number stamped into it. It's designed to survive a lot.
And they could recover it, even from that wreckage.
They managed it. It took expertise, but they isolated that number, that specific non-removable number.
That's incredible. And that number led them where?
To the registered owner, a guy named Mustafa. He owned a few microbuses, operated them out of the Salam station, a busy hub.
So they bring Mustafa in. Is he the victim?
No. He's alive and well, and actually has a solid alibi celebrating Eid like everyone else. He explains he's just the owner of the investor. He collects the earnings, but a manager handles the day-to-day, assigns the drivers.
Okay, so the victim isn't the owner. It has to be one of the drivers who work for Mustafa.
Precisely. But the body, still completely unidentifiable visually. So the autopsy becomes absolutely critical. What did that reveal?
What did it show? Beyond the burning.
Well, first, the cause of death wasn't the fire or smoke inhalation. The victim had been stabbed multiple times.
Stabbed where?
In the heart and also in the sides, the flanks. Deep, fatal wounds. He was murdered before that fire was ever lit.
And the timing. Did they get a sense of when the murder happened versus the fire?
Yes. The forensics estimated the time of death was much earlier, probably between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m., but the bus wasn't found burning until 8 a.m.
A 5 or 6 hour gap.
Exactly. Which strongly supports the idea that he was killed somewhere else, and the body was transported to the highway later for disposal. The murder scene wasn't the burn scene.
And the bindings. Did they identify what was used?
They did. Simple electrical wire. Used to tie the hands and feet of the victim, who they determined was a man, likely in his 30s.
So, brutal stabbing, then tied up, transported, and incinerated, just utter destruction intended. But they still don't know who he is.
Right. They know he's a driver, likely from the Salam station. But who? Trying to track down drivers during the Eid holiday was, well, almost impossible. Many were off, visiting family. No one had reported anyone missing yet. The trail went cold pretty fast.
Then a break.
Yes. About 8 hours after the bus was found, so maybe around 8:00 p.m. that same day, a woman walks into the Salam police station.
And she's there because?
She wants to report her husband missing. His name is Mohamed. He's a microbus driver. Hasn't been seen since the night before.
Mohamed, okay. And her story, what were the details?
She last saw him around 11 p.m. the previous night at the station. Here's a really crucial detail. His phone battery was dead. Completely dead. So she took his phone home with her to charge it.
She took his phone. Okay. Continue.
She told her, "Don't worry, I'm going to hang out late with some friends. I'll be home much later." So she went home, waited up until about 6 a.m., eventually fell asleep. Woke up around noon, he still wasn't back. That's when she really started to worry and eventually came to the station that evening.
That phone detail, on one hand, it explains why maybe no one could reach him. On the other hand, from an investigator's perspective, the wife taking his only means of communication right before he vanishes, that looks suspicious, doesn't it?
Highly suspicious. It immediately puts her under scrutiny.
Yeah.
But first things first, they need to confirm if the body is Mohamed. They ask her for a photo.
Can they possibly match it to the remains?
This is where luck, or maybe just a grim miracle, comes in. Mohamed had a distinctive mark on his face, something visible in the photo she provided. And incredibly, despite the intense charring, that specific mark was still just barely identifiable on the victim's remains.
Wow. So it is him. Mohamed is the victim.
Confirmed. But now they have this lingering suspicion about the wife taking the phone. It's just too convenient, potentially. How do they test that?
Right. How do they figure out if she's involved or just telling the truth?
They decide on a psychological approach, a bit of a test. They don't tell her he's dead. They tell her Mohamed was in a terrible accident. He's alive but critically injured, in a coma. They watch her reaction very closely. Her reaction is immediate, overwhelming, and utterly genuine distress. Pure shock, grief, concern. It's raw, unfeigned. There's no hint of deception. That convinces them. She didn't know. She's not involved.
Okay, so wife cleared. Victim identified. Mohamed. By all accounts, a good guy, hardworking, no major enemies. But the way he was killed, stabbing, binding, burning, it feels so personal, so much rage. It screams revenge.
Exactly. Yeah. And not robbery. Nothing was taken. Not even the microbus, which was destroyed. This was about eradication, fueled by intense personal anger. So investigators pivot again. Forget big motives, look for small ones. They press the wife. Any minor arguments, recent clashes, anything at all.
Even something that seemed resolved.
Especially something that seems resolved. And that's when she remembers something. Just the day before the murder, around 3:00 p.m.
What happened?
It was right there at the Salam station again. She and Mohammed's mother-in-law were visiting him. And a guy named Moore, who worked there as an organizer, known as a bit of a bully, a tough guy, he started harassing the women.
Okay.
So Mohamed steps in, confronts Am. It blows up into a big, loud public argument. Then Amr's brother, Ali, jumps in too, siding with Amr.
A public fight. How did it end?
Other drivers jumped in, broke it up, and apparently afterwards, Amr, Ali, and even their father came and publicly apologized to Mohamed in front of everyone. Witnesses said it seemed totally settled. Case closed.
Seems settled. But maybe not to Amr and Ali.
That's what investigators suspected. They started digging into Amr and Ali's background, and what they found was significant. Both were heavy, daily users of drugs, illegal pills, something called strox. Both also had criminal records.
So for a regular person, a public apology might end it. But for someone with that background, maybe dealing with addiction, that public confrontation and forced apology.
It could be perceived completely differently, as a massive humiliation, an insult that couldn't be forgiven, especially publicly, something requiring extreme payback.
The apology itself became the trigger for revenge.
That was the theory. And it gained traction when they checked Amr and Ali's movements on the night Mohamed was killed. They were noticeably absent from their usual spots, their usual late-night drug hangouts with friends. Very unusual, especially on a holiday.
And then there's the deception afterward.
Right. The next day, after the body was found but before Mohamed was identified, Amr was seen at the station, pretending to help Mohamed's wife look for him, consoling her, asking around, maintaining this complete facade of innocence.
Chilling.
So, when the police finally bring Amr and Ali in for questioning, did the facade hold then?
Not for a second. They were brought in, and apparently they were visibly nervous, stressed out. As soon as the questions started, they just cracked, confessed to everything.
Instantly. What was their reason? Their motive?
Just that. Exactly what the investigators suspected. They felt insulted, humiliated by Mohamed confronting them in public, even though they apologized later.
Yeah.
That was it.
So how did they carry it out? Walk us through that night.
Okay, so Amr waits until Mohamed finishes his shift late that night. He approaches Mohamed, pretends he wants to really apologize properly, smooth things over, suggests they hang out later, bury the hatchet.
And he knew Mohamed's wife had his dead phone.
Crucial point. He knew Mohamed would be sort of off-grid, unreachable. So Mohamed agrees, thinking maybe they're genuinely making peace. He goes to meet them.
As soon as he arrives, they attack him. Amr pulls a knife, stabs him in the side first. Mohamed, being a guy in his 30s, naturally tries to fight back. That's when they stab him again, fatally, in the heart.
Just horrific. And then...
Len, almost unbelievably, they just leave his body there beside them for a while. And they continue taking drugs.
What? Beside the body?
Yeah. After some time, they put his body into a sack. They load it into Mohamed's own microbus, drive out to that deserted spot on the Ismailia highway, pour gasoline all over the body and the inside of the van.
Set it on fire.
Set it ablaze. Then they just drove back home, went to sleep, probably thinking they'd gotten away with it, that all the evidence was gone.
And they confessed all of this without remorse, justifying it over a public argument.
That's what the reports indicate. They saw this horrific, calculated murder as justified revenge for feeling slighted. The senselessness is just staggering.
The courts obviously didn't see it that way.
No. Based on the confession, corroborated by all the meticulous forensic evidence, the bindings, the stab wounds, the accelerants, the fire's origin, Amr and Ali were convicted, sentenced to death.
A truly devastating outcome. A hardworking man's life just erased, families destroyed, all stemming from perceived disrespect, amplified massively by addiction, and perhaps a pre-existing violent tendency.
It really underscores how factors like substance abuse can warp reality, turn a minor conflict that most people would resolve and forget into this catalyst for extreme, unthinkable violence.
It leaves you wondering, doesn't it, about that thin line. The line between just settling a disagreement, maybe even angrily, and escalating to something utterly final, like fatal revenge. Especially when things like addiction or maybe deep-seated issues of pride and control blur that line.
Yeah. How often do minor conflicts spiral into tragedy because they collide with someone's personal demons, their addictions, their inability to handle perceived slights? It's definitely something to think about.